Hi guys, it's car booty time again. Yeah, these weeks are rolling by. So it's July already and we have another computer. This didn't come to me in the best of condition. This is actually how it arrived. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's kind of jammed in there. So there you go. I think this is the correct I/O shield for it, but I don't actually know. A, it's very dirty. And B, it's a Pentium 4. And C, it has some bad capacitors. And D, I think it's an MSI motherboard. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got here. There's no hard drive in this. Yeah, this is kind of like just wedged on there, I think. Yeah, this is kind of like just attached one clip holding that in place. Okay. Right. Well, there we have it. So, one very dirty motherboard. One just about attached heatsink. Let's see if we can get this off first. It's actually bent, I think, actually. It doesn't want to give it up that easily. The other bracket's missing altogether. See if we can actually persuade this to come off. I think I have it there. Okay. So this is just like powdery dirt, not like sticky or anything. I can probably just get the worst of this off here actually. Yeah. It's just dust. I think that thing Detlef gave me will probably just help to finish that. This thing is really good, guys. I think I'll just do this way. Okay, so that's a little bit cleaner at least now. Let's have a look. Just one AGP, 2 PCI. I'm going to wash my hands. Better. Not perfectly better, but better, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, probably 4 bad capacitors down here. These look okay. So this is the CPU VRM. I think we can say we're certain that these are for the RAM. This one, not sure. There's another regulator there. This might be related to the AGP supply, or it may just be related to the North Bridge supply. Okay, so we'll change those 4. Let's see what CPU we have, seeing as the heatsink is off. Okay, just so we get to an angle where we can actually read it. 2.2, 2.3, something like that, so nothing special. Before I change these capacitors, I may as well just check in case there are any shorts on the VRM. I'd rather know now rather than later. But it looks like the VRM on this is actually powered from the ATX. It doesn't have a separate 4-way connector, which is a little bit strange. So I'll actually check on the MOSFETs themselves. The VRM could actually be running from the 5 volts rather than the 12 volts, quite possibly. Ohms range. Let's go on to ground, and then I'm guessing this is the 12 volts coming in. Resistance is climbing up. And then this would be the CPU. Yeah, about right, 9 ohms for the CPU. So that's the 5 volt or 12 volt coming in, whichever one this actually uses. Okay. So there's no short circuits there. We may as well just get on and replace these capacitors, and then let's give this one a try. These are the original capacitors, 1500, 6.3, all the same. I have some replacements, physically a bit smaller, but those are the right value. You'll quite often find this, so if you have some capacitors that have bulged, probably all the other ones of the same value, even if they look okay, are probably faulty as well. In this case, there were only 4 capacitors of that value, so in fact they'd all failed visibly, some worse than others. That did check negative to the white stripe. That's not always the case, but if you're not sure, you can just use the multimeter and measure to ground. You'll soon figure out which one it is. Okay, not difficult to do, but don't just rely on that white stripe being the negative always. Okay, I mean, on this one it is, but sometimes it's the positive. There's no convention really on this that people seem to stick to. Although these are a bit narrower, they fit in nicely. Let's see if this actually works there. So power on. Okay. Nothing. Oh, the wire fell off my switch. That might have something to do with that. It happens, especially when you're working on a lot of stuff like this and you're continually disconnecting and reconnecting these things. A little bit of fatigue sets in, shall we say. And it's basically the weekend near enough now, so that's another good reason. Let's try it again. So power on. Start. Yes. It gets so far. There's no RAM on it. I have a speaker attached. And it looks like the wires are actually attached, but it doesn't make any bleeps. Stops at D3. We have no RAM. I mean, some BIOSes we know come with C0 or C1 if there's no RAM. But I think I've seen this D3 error before for RAM. Let's have a look. So we'll stick some RAM back in that came with it. It's DE, not D3, by the way. And the wire fell off again. Bad soldering or what? Told you it was the end of the week. Okay, put the RAM in another slot. Oh, I see. Ah, this has 2 slots for DDR and 2 slots for PC133. So I'll stick it into this slot. Really doesn't want to go in there. It did go, but that was really stiff. Okay. D3 then DE. I don't think there's any jumpers that select between the 2 types of RAM. I think it's just automatic. Well, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Without RAM again. Same error. Okay. Give the slots a clean. If that doesn't help, let's try some more RAM of both sorts. Okay, I have another old motherboard from last week, by the way, guys. I couldn't get it to detect the RAM, and came down to probably being a problem with the north bridge. That was the Pentium 2. But some discussion. I'm going to have a look to see if we can find any open circuit data and address lines on that one. We'll put that on its own video because it's a different technique basically of fault finding. And it's applicable to many sorts of motherboards, not just old ones like that. Okay, so let's see. That's with the RAM cleaned. Okay. Right, let's try some more RAM. So here's some more of this DDR400. I'm sure that's what it is. Yep. Let's have a look. You only need one strip of RAM on these, by the way. Obviously you can put the two. Ah, D4. It doesn't boot, but it gives a different code. Similar but different. Okay. Oh, we're going. And we get a bleep. Do we get a picture? We got two blips. Yes, we've got a picture. Okay. So the motherboard is booting. Let's go back into that first slot again. Yeah, booting them both now. Yep, got the picture again. So there's no hard drive or anything came with this one. We have a motherboard that appears to boot now, with the RAM in both slots, so we know both RAM slots are working okay. I wonder if that original RAM was actually just faulty or whether it just doesn't like it for some reason. Yeah, doesn't seem to work, that one. The motherboard model P4S5MG/GL. That one, so one on offer, £44 plus a huge amount of postage. Okay. Anybody bought any? I don't know if they will have done. I mean, these sort of P4 boards are not overly popular, but £40 is about what you'd expect them to be worth if they do sell. This, I don't see any sold, so I think we can really say it's not worth anything at the moment, but I think it will have some value at some point in the future. Oh, somebody liked these photographs. I don't know why that came up in the search, but there you go. Okay, so working, but not really any particular value at the moment. I'll keep it in the stash. Leave it a few years, see what happens. But let's look at something else. And here is another one in somewhat better condition than that last one. Yeah, it says data voice, and there, data voice, this little handling here. So this was used for some specific use, I think. Micro telephone or something, grab, mic, volume, some sort of telephony thing. We can see DOM, graphics card, 2 LAN cards and some sort of modem, I think, and a sound card. Data voice on the back of it as well, so this was effectively meant for this purpose. Has just a couple of USBs on there, which makes you think it's quite possibly something like a Pentium 2. Could be a P4, sometimes you find that on P4s. Could of course be an AMD machine. So, guessing time. It has just the one side panel on this, it's not the whole lid that comes off. Okay, let's do it together. Yeah, here goes. Some sort of AMD machine, this one, I think, then. Oh, QDI Advanced 10F. Could be a Pentium 3. I think the QDI Advanced were Intel boards, which then would suggest this is a P3. And this has an ISA slot in it. Okay, ISA is always nicer. And that has this funny modem card in. There's no hard drive on this one again. So I think we will take this motherboard and the other various parts out. And let's have a good look to see what we have here. So we have a QDI Advanced 10F motherboard. Okay. If this is a P3, which is what I think it is, and it takes these two Latin, which are the very fastest of the P3 processors, this is something that's quite sought after. If it's a AMD with an ISA slot, they're also quite sought after. So I think if it's working, I'm probably onto a reasonable winner here. It is Intel Pentium P3. Okay. What speed's this one? Well, it's a Pentium 3800, okay? So we'll have to have a look to see from the internet what speed processors it will take up to. That will definitely have a big difference on the value of it. Yeah, it says here, Coppermine Pentium 3 1000, all the way to have 333 megahertz bus. Okay, so it won't actually support the fastest of the Pentium 3s, but it's still quite a nice board, I think, if we can get it to work. We have an ISA card here. Oh, it's like a funny little bracket here. This is the data voice card. These things are an interesting novelty, if you like, these days. I mean, this is from 2003, which is really quite late for an ISA card, I would say, but if that really is the year, I'm a bit surprised. Okay, I don't think it's worth anything, it's just an interesting novelty, I guess. PCI LAN card, these really don't have any value. I have quite a few of them, don't need those. Sound card is one of these funny shaped things. A Vortex. Oh, Turtle Beach, the Turtle Beach card. So not a Sound Blaster, maybe. It's still interesting. Okay, we can have a look. Graphics card. Very dirty. S3 Savage 3D. Not a particularly fast 3D card, I think. None of the S3 were, but somebody might like it. It may have some value. The capacitors, they're in pretty good nick, I think. They're just dirty. It's not that they've bulged or anything. It's just grime on those. Okay. So let's just pop this heatsink back on and let's see if this actually works. There's no onboard video on this, so let's just try the one that came with it. Time to give it a go. So power on. Standby is on because the LED lit up, you can't just see it, it's behind the back end of this card, but it's on. And it's booting. This looks like a RAM error. Yeah, saying no RAM. Okay. Just try reseating that. Again. Without the graphics card this time. Yeah, that's going booting now. It's going further. Okay. So let's see. Graphics card back in. Okay. On. Boot. Oh, interesting, it stopped at C5 this time. I'll just give that RAM slot a clean. Or for that matter, try it in slot 1. Okay, just see if it boots all the way. Well, let's give a few codes and then stopped. Let's see. That's much more promising. Yeah, now saying the graphics card isn't inserted. Of course it isn't. Dirty RAM slots is by far the most common problem I've had with these retro boards. Okay. Oh, still doesn't like the graphics card. Maybe dirty AGP slot then. Waggle it in and out a few times. Go again. Alright, that's got it. Okay, so a nice Pentium 3 motherboard appears to be working now. Let's see what this thing actually is worth. So the S3 Savage 3D. Oh, they actually do have a bit of value, those, funnily enough. Well, people are asking a fair amount of money for them. Again, are they selling? Yeah, but that was a box one, sold for $18.95. That one sold for $14.98, $18.95. Huh, so that's a different card. Okay. That's a different card. So those ones, so £15 or something. You see how there's always a difference, or often a difference between the asking price and the selling price. The Turtle Beach sound card, which I think may be a TB400. Nothing coming up in the sold listings. Let's just go Turtle Beach. PCI. See what we get. Yeah. Oh, 75, but somebody made an offer. Vortex 2. Yeah, that seems to be the thing I have. Another one at 96.80. Somebody made an offer. This one actually sold for 85. So, oh, that's a different card. Look at this, sold, boxed. Is that actually the card I have? AU8820, that might help. Okay. And another number here like TBS 400. No, this is different. This is Vortex 2 and mine says Vortex. So this is an 8830 and mine is just the Vortex. So I'm guessing that is a different card. Yeah, I think mine is actually that one. Oh well, that's a shame. About £27. I can't see this data voice ISA card thing. So I can't say it's worth anything unless somebody knows different. And the QDI Advance 10F. I think these were about £100. No, actually less than I thought. Well, maybe not. So that's the 10F, and that's sold for 54 in auction. That's the 10T, so it's a different one. Okay, that's 101. The 10T, 118. I've had these 10T before. There's a 10F that's sold for 102, and another one that's sold for 27. Another one on offer at 58 went for some offer. So I don't think this one actually is worth as much as I thought it was. I definitely have more than one of the 10T. This is, I would think, the one that actually takes the tool in, and that's why they're worth a lot more. Let's say it's worth anywhere between 25 and 50. Let's say 40 is an average, okay? So I don't have anything of any great value on this one, with the sound card and the motherboard, with its processor and the graphics card. I might have like another 60 or 80 or something like that, depends on what I got on the day. Okay, so not as quite as valuable as I thought, but still I think a nice bit of retro hardware. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know, comments below, what do you think of this week's stash? And I look forward to seeing you all soon again on Learning Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.